Hello everybody, Mannix here. Going to be doing a quick little review of this Kizer Mini Begleiter. Begleiter? How do you say that? I don't know. Calling this a quicker review mainly because I haven't used this knife too much, but I have a general idea about it, and I see why it's popular, what people like about it, so let me just make the review for you. But first, let's go with the specs. Blade material is 154cm. It is stonewash and a flat grind. The blade length is 2.875 inches. The cutting edge length is 2.625 inches. Handle length 3.75 inches, with the overall length coming in at 6.625 inches. It says it weighs 2.37 ounces. Let's find out if that's true. I'm going to test that out with my scale right here. Not that my scale is more accurate than whatever the manufacturer's scale is, but my scale is saying 2.42 ounces. Slightly heavier, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a light knife. It's pretty light. Could have been lighter for the size, but I really don't care about weight when it comes to knives typically. We have G10 handle scales here. It is a liner lock. We have stainless steel non-skeletonized liners. At this size, if you skeletonized it, basically nothing would really happen though. So, tip up carry. Appears to be right hand only. Dual thumb studs though. It's a very classy gentleman's slash ladies knife. And yes, I say ladies because it's pretty small. As you can see here, a lady's hands would fit pretty well. I have large size hands for reference. You can see my hands are just slightly too big for the knife, but it's not uncomfortable. It's meant to be a small knife. But the main thing that attracted people to this one, what made it popular, I think, is the 154cm blade steel. It's just something you don't really see at this price point, which I should have probably told you. Retails at $84. You can get this all day long for anywhere from $40 to $50 on various websites. So 45 bucks, let's say, for 154cm. That's the big kicker right there. 154cm blade steel, 45 bucks. That's what most people see, and that's what made people want this knife, and that's generally what I think makes it popular. But other than that, it's very elegant, it's very smooth. It's a really nice lockup. There's not a whole lot to really say negative about it, other than that it's a small, thin knife, and that's not a bad thing. That's just what it is. If you bought this knife, you probably already knew that, and that's probably what you were looking for. It's very classy, but also I still think aligns with the whole tactical alignment as well. It's not like a case knife that's all shiny and smooth and has no grip or anything. We have some fairly grippy G10, well, it's kind of reminiscent of like the Spyderco Tenacious line grip, that typical somewhat smooth G10. It's not going to rip up your pockets or anything like that. I like the pocket clipper here. It's also stone-washed. I like the lanyard hole right there. I like it when they make like a shape. It's not just a circle. It's this is sort of an oval. It's kind of cool. Not that I use lanyards on folders, but some people do. Like the sort of design we have around the hardware. Really love that stonewash finish. It's just beautiful. It's my favorite finish, next to acid wash finishing. But yeah, if you're not familiar with 154cm, basically it's a higher mid-grade steel. Holds its edge for a very good amount of time. It's not the hardest steel in the world. It's not quite as hard as like S30V or something, but it's close, and it's a little bit more versatile. A lot of people prefer 154cm because it's very good all around. It doesn't take terribly long to resharpen it, but it doesn't dull very quickly either. It's just a very good compromise, and it's a very sought-after steel that's good in almost every situation when it comes to blades. Flow-through design, by the way. Yeah, it's just, there's not really a whole lot else to say about it. Ergonomically great. I really like this big old choil right here. Your index finger really locks in. And even though it's just a thin little knife, it feels very secure in the hand, more so than most other knives at this size. Particularly, I think it's because of that choil. It just really feels locked in. No jimping. Not that I really care, but some people do. Just thought I'd make that clear. There's no jimping there. For a smaller knife, I would have actually liked to see some jimping. Again, not that I really care, but when it's there, it gets that feeling of... You get that feeling of more security, I guess. Especially because it's smaller, there's less to hold on to. But maybe that's not what they were going for. They were going for smoother, classier, while being somewhat more of a modern slash tactical knife at the same time. I like the thumb studs. Perfect design, cylindrical, and they taper just a little bit at the top. They're nice and wide, they're very easy to get to. There's a really strong detent in this knife for its size, so flicking it out is pretty easy. When a knife has a very low detent or almost a non-existent detent, you'll notice you really got to flick your wrist to get it to open up. But when you have a stronger detent, all the pressure just gets released in one motion from your thumb. However, it's kind of difficult to open this conventionally unless you use the fat of your thumb, not the tip of your thumb, and even then it's not that easy, which is something I kind of don't like about the knife either, but it's not that big of a deal. I basically just flick this guy open. but I'm not exactly the most comfortable flicking it open because I don't have a whole lot to grip onto. I don't know, I feel like my thumb's accidentally going to slip and I'm going to cut myself sometimes when opening up this stuff. I don't know. It's just, because that strong detent, it makes it easier to flick out, but at the same time, because it's such a small knife, there's less to hold on to. I mean, you can practice. If you get a technique, it's not that big. It's really not a big deal. This is a total nitpick right here, but that's something in particular I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to this small knife. I tend to like bigger knives, but this is executed very well. It's a very nice small knife. It's just slightly contradictory to me how if it's supposed to be like a gentleman/ladies classy knife, why it has to be, why it's easier to flick out. Not that that was Kizer's intention, I'm pretty sure, but it's just interesting to note. But yeah, basically it's just a great small knife that's not too smooth, not too crazy tactical or jimped out or jagged. And you got a really nice long drop point blade, flat ground to work with here, so it's a very good utility knife. And if you want to go the whole defense route, yeah, sure, you can do that. Almost any knife can work very well for defense. Never laugh at it. Even a 1-inch blade, you can completely slash someone open with one of those things. So blades in general they're good defense weapons. Let's just put it at that. Next to a gun, of course. Nothing else to really say about it. On the biggest pitch of this knife, or not the pitch, but what attracts most people to this knife is the blade steel and the price point. Because typically speaking, 154 cm, you see it at least priced at around $70 when it comes to folding knives. Seeing at $40, 45-ish bucks, below $50, that's pretty appealing. And you can get it with this knife, and it's executed very well, very good heat treatment on there. A lot of it has to do with the heat treatment, not just the blade steel itself. It's a very beautiful knife. I like it. Very useful too. It's very efficient. It makes a lot out of its own size. There's a lot of cutting edge, a lot of blade to work with here without it being too wide or too cumbersome. It's a very efficient blade right there. Yeah, it's a knife you could bring to a wedding or some sort of social gathering of high standards. But it's also very useful at the same time and can be flicked out quickly and is grippy enough to be considered a tactical folder, I would call it too. Not that I like to talk about self-defense when it comes to knives very much, but some people are into that. Anyway, that is the Kizer Mini Begleiter. Just thought I'd do a little video on that. If the blade still interests you, if the knife itself interests you, if anything about this knife interests you, you might as well go get it. It's very affordable. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. It's just affordable. It's a relatively affordable, very, very high quality knife. So, that's it.